Here I've got a little bit of compost tea going, or I don't really like to use the word compost tea because it's more of an aerated active mixture of microbes. We're not here to soak the nutrients out of the compost and spray it. What we're trying to do is breed up the population of microbes starting from compost. So it's an aerated liquid medium where I've got just about, I don't know, maybe 4 cups of finished compost, and I went ahead and threw in 1 of young compost that had a bunch of fungus growing on the outside of it already. So I knew it had some good stuff going in there. I put all that in this mesh sack here, and then I've just got a little fish tank aerator connected to a metal piece of pipe so it'll stay down in the bottom. And I'm going to let that bubble for about 4 hours, and then put it in a sprayer with a really coarse nozzle and spray it on rows that I can't get to with spreading compost as fast as I want to. So that'll supercharge the area there with beneficial microbes and fungus. And we're supposed to get some thunder showers this afternoon, so it's a good time to spray it in, let it get soaked down into the soil where they can continue to multiply and provide some benefit to the plants we want to grow there. In addition to the water, which is rainwater in this case, and the compost that I put in this bucket, I also added some old rotten milk that I had and a little bit of a hummingbird feeder food that had been around too long. So that just adds a little bit of extra microbes in there, as well as some nutrients for them to rapidly use and increase their population under ideal conditions, which this is not. Bacteria like it a little bit warmer than what this bucket is right now, but under ideal conditions they can double every 20 minutes. So you can build up a pretty vast population of beneficial microbes and bacteria in a bucket of water like this if you keep it aerated so it doesn't go anaerobic and they've got all the oxygen they need to reproduce. So it's been about 4 hours and the compost tea should be ready. So I'm just going to take my giant tea bag here out, and I'm going to dilute this about 1-to-1 with just fresh rainwater, just so I have more to spread around. I'm going to do just a portion of this field over here, and I'm just going to drench it on there with this watering can. So nothing fancy. I don't need a fancy sprayer or anything. I'm going to just fill it about halfway with rainwater, keeping the junk out. And then the other half will be with that. I've got this clamp on here to reduce the airflow coming through because my air pump's a little bit more aggressive than I want. And if you have a really fine, some people put stones on the end of these to get really fine bubbles to get better aeration. But if it's too fine, you have too much pressure, you'll wind up breaking up the fungal strands of your compost tea in here. So I just have this clamp on here to slow the air volume down. Really simple, low-tech way to do it. But let's go on out to the field and drizzle this stuff in the rows. Alrighty, I'm just going to mix the compost tea about half and half with water and put it all the way down the rows. I'm just using that as a filter so any twigs or sticks from this rainwater that I collected doesn't get in and clog up the watering can. Depending on what reference you use online, you can find a pretty broad variety of whether or not people think compost tea is beneficial or not. Everything from it's dangerous, don't use it, to it'll cure anything. We use it here, particularly on this field, because this was actually used as a little amateur rodeo, and the soil was seriously degraded. After being abandoned for 4 years, nothing was growing on it when we got this property. So it needs a boost, and normally I would just put Compost Direct on. I had already got my cover crop going for the year, and I didn't want to smother it with compost. So in this situation, compost tea was the right thing for us to do, because you can get that injection of microbial activity and diversity into the soil without smothering any existing cover crop that you have running on there. So that's why we did it in this instance, and I believe more diversity is good, and especially aerobic microbes are great to have in your soil. So that's why we did it here. So that's it. Just a drench with your watering can. I forget the absolute, the recommended dose. I think it's like 5 gallons per acre or so. It's not a lot, so you can easily make 1 gallon of this cover a really large area. Great book with references on this is called Teaming with Microbes. Just finished reading it. Fantastic references on compost and activated compost teas and soil biology. It's a really cool book. So hope you guys enjoyed that and learned a little something. We'll catch you next time.